The earliest American skaters were known as sidewalk surfers and used plywood boards with roller skate wheels on the bottom. The early skate style was more fluid and was supposed to resemble surfers riding waves. As the sport developed even more, it grew across the nation and across the world and became much more technical, leading to people becoming pro skaters and big events like the X Games and Street League. Chicago's skateboarding history can be traced back to the late 80s when a ban was put into place preventing skaters from riding on sidewalks and streets in business districts. This includes the Loop and many other areas that skaters need to use to commute to school and or work. Chicago's skateboarding law states specifically, no person shall ride a skateboard upon any roadway or sidewalk in a business district, and any person found to have violated any provision of this section shall be fined not less than $25 and not more than $200. Though these laws may be harsh on skateboarders, it did not stop the underground scene from becoming more and more popular. Skaters like Josh Kalis and shops like Uprise started opening up here in Chicago. Josh Kalis lived above Uprise Skate Shop at one point in the 90s and is also a frequent visitor of Chicago. Kalis states, Chicago's always been one of my favorite cities in the world for skating because of all the plazas, and Uprise was always the place where everyone could meet up, watch the newest video that came out, and then head into the city to skate all day into the night. Kalis adds, I just like the scene so much here that I ended up getting a room in the loft above the old shop and skating here whenever I could. These laws are still in place today, and even after resistance from skateboarders and other advocates for skateboarders, the laws do not seem to be changing anytime soon. The Chicago skate scene is now more popular than ever despite the laws that are still in place. I interviewed some skaters who are new locals to Chicago to get their take.
I started skateboarding when I was like 6. My neighbor gave me his skateboard, his old one.
I moved to Chicago like last year, like in September, and I moved from San Diego, California.
I moved to Chicago in September, or I guess the end of August. I was expecting more from the skate scene, but that's just because it's a bigger city.
I was just like bored of everything in San Diego, and especially the skating, because like skating here is like so different every time. Like everything is just different, and it's like San Diego, it's like everything's the same every time.
I would definitely say the main issue is finding spots that, or skating at times when you're not going to get kicked out from spots, because security is a huge problem, at least when you're street skating, and you might only have like a couple tries to get something because security's going to be out in like 30 seconds usually.
The scene in Chicago definitely isn't as popular as it is in New York, but there is a scene, and it's like its own community. I think the biggest thing would probably be Grant Skate Park. If we're just talking about Chicago, just because it's one of the biggest skate plazas in the United States, and skate parks always create a sense of community, and there's definitely a huge community that surrounds Grant. Community in skateboarding is probably the biggest part now, especially with social media and all those things being available at the ready. Anybody can share their skateboarding and the way they perform.
Well, I wouldn't say like skateboarding in Chicago is necessarily better in any way, because it's not. Because like skating in Chicago is always a struggle, and the weather sucks, and it's cold, and none of the spots like really work. But I guess that's like what's fun about it. Part of it too is like I feel better skating in Chicago. Like for some reason, like I feel more comfortable. But like Chicago is just like more fun. Like the atmosphere here is like the energy is like super good.
Saying it's a difference in community.
Yeah, I guess like that there's still like a big community in San Diego, but like Chicago, it's like everyone knows you. Like if you skate, everyone like either has seen your face or knows you.
Chicago has changed a lot since its first ban on skateboards was put into place in the late 80s, and new parks and advanced technical skaters have changed the sport drastically. It's interesting to see that 2018 Chicago skaters still share and identify with many of the complaints and praise of the original skateboarders that were here. While skaters still wish they could skate street, the parks have served as a hub for the skating community to grow and practice. I think the most interesting thing I learned from these interviews was them talking about loving the sketchy and imperfect spots here. These skaters taking advantage of only a few sunny months while skating bad spots reminds me of the perseverance of the 90s skaters after they became outlawed. In my eyes, that is Chicago's strength, its sense of community and its perseverance. I hope we can build and grow this sense of community into something even bigger in the future.